First of all, I'm going to show you how this works. So this is on your dashboards now, okay? Like if you were to
Hmm.
log in, you'd see this now.
Okay.
And then just for grins, I added myself as a test doctor. Um, but you know, yours is in here and it's again, it's really simple. Like the minimum stuff you have to fill out to try the app is a username, PIN code, email, phone number. This is what
What is the PIN code?
I'll show you're going to see in a second.
Okay.
But anyways, this is which calls do you want to see from which dashboards? Okay.
Hmm.
Then this is which type of calls do you want to see from those dashboards? And typically I set it like this for after hours. And the notification settings, this is interesting. So the way this is set up here is my app's gonna pop and say you have a patient call or something like that. It's also gonna text me at the same time. If I don't touch that, click on it in the app, within 15 minutes, going to call me on the phone and say, hey, a doctor's trying to reach you or whatever, because then this sequence kicks in. And then the cool thing is this sequence is like a miniature escalation procedure. So you could do some really interesting things with it. I'll show you my favorite one. Here's my favorite. Okay, look at that. So here's how this works. He gets an app notification and a text right away. Within 1 minute, if he doesn't touch that open call on the app, and you're going to see that in a second, it's going to call him 3 times every 5 minutes. After that, it's going to text him once after 2 minutes. After that, if he still hasn't clicked on it, it's going to text Judy twice every 5 minutes. After that, if no one else has touched it, it's going to text Ashton twice every 5 minutes. So you can do a lot of really creative stuff with this, you know?
Hmm.
Go back to here. So now that we've got that, let me put my app on the screen. So just take a sec. Okay, so there's the app, right? So let's see if this asks me. It should ask me for a PIN code. Yeah. Okay. So I just added this little test account for now. Okay. There's no calls. And the thing is, the PIN code used to be more useful before they added stuff like Face ID, you know? Let me call this number and I'm going to pretend I'm one of your test patients. And then I'll show you exactly what's happening here.
You have reached Piedmont Healthcare After Hours. The office is currently closed. If this is a medical emergency, please hang up and call 911. If you are an established patient or calling on behalf of an established patient, please press 2 immediately to be helped as quickly as possible. Please enter the patient's date of birth by using your keypad to enter 2 digits for the month. You have entered August 5th, 1953.
Right.
If this is the correct date of birth, please wait while we look up the medical chart for the patient. Using your keypad, please wait while we look up the medical chart for the patient. If you are the patient or a HIPAA authorized, if you have a question about your bill, labs, insurance, or some other message for our office, press 1. If you have an urgent issue and need to speak with the provider on call, press 2. Would you like us to return your call to 310-402-5573? If yes, press 1. Please say the patient's first and last name. When done, press any key. Then you will be asked for more information.
Carl Silva.
Now, please leave a detailed message with as much information as possible as to why you are calling, any symptoms you are experiencing, and any other information that would help us call. Once you are done with your message, you can hang up and the office will return your call as soon as possible.
So this is your test dashboard. You could do anything you want to this. I just have it set up a certain way. What it's going to do now, it's going to take this recording, going to push this to the app by transcribing it as 100% transcription quality. Plus, it's going to push the chart, and we'll look at that in just a second.
Once the provider or office has listened to your message, we will contact you at 310-402-55.
It's already in there because I just got a text message. After hours, you're working through the app, and as you saw, the app can be configured in a variety of different ways. This information is coming out of the charts in real time. So what happens is you get an app notification, how I get notified, when I get notified, and for what types of calls I get notified, as you saw, is customizable. So also, it manages multiple people on call using the app simultaneously if that happens to be a use case. You see how this is gold? If somebody else had grabbed it, it would show that it was green, I think. So in other words, you can have multiple people using this simultaneously. And by the way, we don't charge for staff to use the app to work remotely or whatever you like to do. So when I click on this, it's pulling more information off the chart in real time. So here's the deal. This is way different than other types of answering services because I get to see who's calling and what they're calling about. Versus now, the way it works typically is that somebody gets a live call thrown into their lap at 3 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon or whenever. So this is okay. Who's calling? What are they calling about? You get a heads up. Way less stressful, right? Now, if I want to see what's been happening to this patient lately, I click on the patient chart, and this is a summary of the patient's 3 most recent visits, allergies, active medications, and lab results. And if I click on one of these, patient lately, and then click on respond. Now I got 2 choices here. Usually I just take session because what it's going to do is self-document every call after hours, put it back to the chart between take session and close session. However, if I wanted to, I could forward it to somebody else. So that's another function here. So I click on take session. Now at this point, I got several things I can do. I can click on this phone icon. Now those numbers below are the numbers that are on the chart. But because patients, you just never know with patients. First of all, maybe their chart's out of date. Second of all, maybe their cell phone battery died and they're using somebody else's phone. But when I click on this is going to set up a real-time conference bridge between me and the patient.
Connecting you with the caller.
And now this is calling my other phone here with Piedmont Health.
Hello, this is Piedmont Healthcare After Hours calling you back.
And then we're connected. Okay, super. So that'll be part of what's going on here, put back to the chart. However, the thing is, when you're on call, there's certain patients that think everything is an emergency. For instance, one time I was at my wife's mother's funeral, and my wife is a doctor, and she got a call from somebody that had a broken toenail as an emergency. So this is also designed to take care of a lot of stuff by itself or to send follow-up phone calls to patients. So let's just say this patient, let's just have it call the patient to tell them something. I can't send in your refill, but because we haven't seen you in a really long time. So when you get a chance, please set up a time to do a medication review. All right. And then I click on add response and I'll say, please make it an appointment. Now it's going to call the patient back and say those 2 things. This little box at the bottom is take notes about the call because I've seen people dictate like entire paragraphs in here. I'll just leave a note for the staff. So all this information is going to go back into a task. So if I need the staff to follow up with something, I could say, hey, when you get this on Monday, could you please set up a time to do a medication review with this patient? And then I hit close session, and that's it. And that's going to call up my phone, and do what I told it to do. Hello?
Hello, the office of Piedmont Healthcare After Hours. A message is waiting for you. Press any key to hear the message now. Hello, this is Piedmont Healthcare After Hours returning your call. A patient at this phone number contacted us with a medical issue. We are calling back now with the provider's answer. If you are the patient or a HIPAA authorized individual, press 1. Piedmont Healthcare After Hours has the following information for you. You can repeat this information at any time by pressing 1. Please listen to the entire message. This message has...
The app tells you the patient got the message.
I can't send in a refill, but because we haven't seen you in a really long time, so when you get a chance, please set up a time to do a medication.
Oops.
Part 2. Please make an appointment as soon as possible. Thank you. Press 1 to repeat this information. Press 2 to confirm you have heard this. Do you wish to start a new session with the provider for another issue? Press 1 for yes. Press 2 for no. Thank you for calling Piedmont Healthcare After Hours. Goodbye.
Honestly, that's it. But it can do a gazillion things. Like, for instance, unfortunately, there's no, I don't know what these charts are connected to. So I'll just show you how it would work. So let's just say, click on this. And click on this. This is what we call an outbound session. Now, the only difference between this and what we did earlier is there's no message, but this is in the case where either I want the app to call the patient in some automated fashion, or I'm going to call the patient myself, but I don't want them to have my cell phone. So I could go like that, call this patient, but that's obviously not a real number. And I could click on add response and have it do any of these things. But we're not going to do that because I don't know where that's going to wind up. So here's the thing. At this point, that's in a task in Tyler's inbox. That's in a task in Tyler's inbox because I made Tyler the person that handles this. This is also going to be in there. So that way, this is the follow-up, right? And then the session log is a detailed record of everything that occurred. So what will happen is all this information is going to wind up back on the chart, either because I did an archive or because it's synced. And as I mentioned before, people use this in a lot of different ways. So Cahaba's got 187 providers down in Alabama. And they also have a residency program. So they have attending after hours. And there's the on-call schedule. Dr. Kane is on today. They also, because they're so large, they do a lot of work for these different hospitals. And they have today split between Dr. Lincoln and Dr. Posey. And then the general after hours, they've got it arranged like this. I think it's because what they did is they're starting to do pediatric. Like they do just primary care and OB/GYN now. I think these are the 3 pediatric doctors they just recently hired. So if I call that number, I'm not going to go all the way through it.
Calling Bahama Medical Care. Press 1 for English. Please select one of the following. Press 1 if you would like to request an appointment or leave us a non-urgent question which will be answered the next business day. Press 2 if you are a patient of Dr. Paula Johnson, Dr. Holly Johnson, or Dr. Lindsay Head and this is an emergency and you must reach the provider on call. Press 3 for all other callers.
See what I mean? So there's a lot of examples I could show you like that. So it's like the same thing we've been doing with everything else. You want to look at a pilot. Who hates the after hours answering service the most? You try it with them first and see what happens. The same kind of idea.
Yeah, I think it's this has been helpful for me to see it. Yes.
Okie dokie.
So I'm wondering, you said there's a way that we could pilot this or test this out?
You could pilot and test everything out, everything we do for free. So the answer is yes. In other words, just like everything else we do, we don't do one-time charges because we're confident our stuff's going to work out. And if it doesn't work out, no big deal. So the answer to your question is, depending on what particular department or what particular specialty or what particular, type of doctor might be able to use something like this, they'd be the best ones to give this a whirl with for sure. But there's other instances, there's other use cases for it. Here we go. So women's obstetrics and gynecology, okay? Had a tornado in Nashville a few years ago, and the next day they called up the phone company, electric company, and this and that, and said, when can we go back to the office? They said, we have no idea. So what we did is we had their published number forwarded to this CallMyDoc number. And since all these numbers are non-blocking and every call gets answered, all their published phone numbers were going to that number. And then what we did in parallel to that is we set up not only all the doctors, but the staff with the app as well. So they were able to work remotely or do whatever they need to do and still be able to maintain practice, keep things open and this and that till they were able to get back on their feet after the tornado hit. Another example would be these guys. During the pandemic, those tests weren't always reliable, but it didn't really matter because people couldn't go to the office. So out of this list here, maybe 3 people are doctors. I know she's the practice manager, so these people are able to work remotely or deal with different weird situations. For instance, if there's, ice storm, whatever, they can't get to the office, at least they could still do stuff, even if they can't get to the office. Another one down here, women's billing calls. Oh, no, not that one, this one.
And Carl, are they using their desktop or are they using their cell phone?
It could be done either way.
Okay.
Because we have this. So the only thing you need to do, right? So let's just say I'll use my little login here. Anyways, here's the point. It works exactly the same way it does on your phone.
Okay.
There's no difference. I wanted to show you these guys. Oh, I know what it is. Woman. So here, these guys, they have, I don't know, it's a pretty large practice, 40 or 50 providers, but the point is that out of this list, not one of these people is a doctor that's using the app to work remotely. As a matter of fact, their entire billing department works remotely, and 100% of their calls get transcribed to this, and everybody's happy because
And
but
did you
yeah, I mean,
say,
if you want to have a, brainstorm some more about this, I'd be happy to do it because we've been through a zillion different use cases. So, this could be set up anyway. And as I said before, this is currently set up to you could do anything you want to it.
and did you say that it doesn't cost the staff anything? Is this like a per provider per month charge like the
Yeah,
other?
exactly. This would be, so it's slightly different to this one. Okay, here's the deal. If it's used during the day, okay. So let's just walk through this, right? These guys are already using it during the day. Therefore, it's no charge if they want to use it after hours. Because
Gotcha.
that's how it works. Okay.
All right.
These guys are already using it during the day. So it's no charge to use it after hours. If
Gotcha.
it was a different department, then it would be the providers who take calls after hours on this particular dashboard would be $54.99 a piece. You follow me?
Yes.
But it works the other way too. So in other words, Chip, what we tried to do is we try to come up with a pricing schema that would work no matter what. And as you scale up with hundreds of sites, what I describe is the simplest way I know how to do it. And if you want, I can put that back in the chat, or we can always, talk about it later. I mean,
So if we had 4 docs that were part of the after hour on call, it would cost each of them $54.99.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Correct statement.
But if those 4 docs were part of an office that were using it during the day, then that's part of the $80 per
Yes,
month.
sir. That's a correct statement. Everything you just said is 100% correct and accurate.
Okay.
It's just the easiest way to manage it at scale. That's why we don't do the one-time charge thing on all this other stuff, because it would be so difficult. I don't know how other people manage it, but when you scale it up, it's just not possible. It's too
Hey,
hard.
Mark, based on what you know that we're trying to get and what your system does with our phone system, you have any questions?
Yeah, and I apologize. I wasn't able to join on time. I got hung up with
Don't
something
worry
else.
about it.
But
No problem.
but yeah, the main things, and it looked like I saw that in here, is that say if an office manager, they have 4 doctors, she
Mhm.
can go ahead and go in and create a schedule maybe
Right
for
here.
the
Yeah,
month,
absolutely. I just didn't
and
do
it
that.
and
Yeah.
it'll automatically switch over the physician at the time it needs to a different cell phone number.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Exactly.
I know that that's something that they would like and prefer most of the locations. And also, I'm sure within the app, the physician has the ability to communicate with that patient via call, text,
Yes, sir.
and
It's all phone call based, but one way because
and it
we do
doesn't show the
everything phone call
physician's
based because
number.
it's a guaranteed delivery and it's HIPAA compliant.
Yeah, and doesn't reveal the physician's
No,
personal cell
sir,
phone
that's
number.
exactly correct.
Okay. I know those are the main things that our locations will, the capabilities they'll want. And I think it's nice that it has the texting option, because that is not an option that we currently have the way we're doing it.
Exactly. And the thing is, here's the fun part. I live with this because my wife's a primary care physician with 10,000 patients.
Mm.
And some people just, you can't help it. They're going to call you at 6 p.m. on a Friday evening,
Mhm.
and it's just annoying. It's how it is. But I mean, not everybody's like that, but in a pinch,
Well, especially when they call about something that's not urgent matter for the on-call physician. Like you said, the
exactly. And
toenail
that's why we
thing or
try to
something. I mean,
structure it like I
at
was
least.
showing these guys in Alabama.
Mhm.
They've probably been using this about 6, 7 years, but HABA. That's why it's set up like this. So in other words, it says immediately, if this isn't urgent, press 1. In other words, if you're calling about a refill or this and that, right? And so by the wording, you try to get this stuff to be as explicit as possible to
Mm.
not waste the doctor on time. There you go. There's an example, right? Oh, because all this stuff here is going to be back on the chart, including this, then 2 years from now, if somebody calls and said, hey, you never did that, it's all written down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's currently, of course, the current way we're doing it. Nothing goes into any chart or anything like that. It's all just the physician gets the call, the voicemail message, and that's pretty much as far as we can go with what we currently are doing.
Understood 100%. So yeah, if a site wants to check it out, and they always get you always get feedback. So we can always tune it up in a bunch of different ways depending on what they want to do.